Hey guys, your boy MKS here. Sorry, just making yet another cup of tea. For a while, it looked like it was going to brighten up here in England, but well, in Leicester, particularly, I'm not sure I should give away my address. Well, even town, city, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's still a bit grey out there. I actually like snow, but I know it's not always the safest for driving conditions or even walking. I could nearly slip in the snow. It's like a lot of people said I shouldn't like snow, but I'm a bit like a kid. Well, I'm a lot like a kid, really. But so yeah, I love the snow. And I can't remember what I was going to say now. That's my train of thought. But yeah, although I've nearly slipped in the snow a few times, so it's like God telling me I shouldn't like snow, because a lot of people say, "Oh, stop liking the snow," because it's like where people trip over. It's really cold for the elderly and stuff like that. But anyway, so I'm going to try and get on with this list. I'm a bit behind my goals because I still need to. I still want to sleep up a bit more before my brother comes back, and the rest of my relative. Well, I think just my brother coming back tonight. But anyway, I thought that my stepdad said that maybe lots of people will be coming tonight to my house, but I think my brother said they're not. So it's probably for the best actually, because I haven't done much. Well, I've done a few rooms, but 2 or 3. I don't know if I did them very well. I was a bit tired, so I gave my best. Anyway, sorry, back to getting to this list. As a Celtic fan, I want to talk about reasons to support Celtic, as the title suggests. Yeah, I'd love to. I hope that I'll get lots of feedback. Please give this channel as much support as you can, and this video. Any money I make from this video, if it does make any money, will go to Celtic, to the club, either to buy players or for training facilities. But it might not be that. It depends how many views I get, of course, but it might not be much. But if it over time, hopefully make enough money for Celtic and hopefully help them with their branding and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to get onto the list, I think, without trying not to laugh too much. Point number 1, I hope to hear from people who are Celtic fans already and talk about why they love Celtic. It seems to be like quite a good family club all around the world. Many people have made Celtic videos about how people around the world support Celtic and that kind of thing. So I love to hear their views, so that, because if I can't think of a list of 30 ideas I can only try and do, then to cheat a bit, if you like, not really cheat, but to get more people to share their views, so that they can so that they can contribute to this and help me to grow this list of reasons to support Celtic. If you can think of any others that I might not include, please do include them in the comments below. Please don't hesitate to include any potential ideas you think about that think are good reasons to support Celtic. And I suppose, conversely, if you're a Rangers fan or whatever, hopefully, I know some of the comments might be rude. I hope they won't be too rude, but from, like, I don't know if the right word's nominal or whatever, nominal or average, or basically non-violent Rangers fans, or non-extremist Rangers fans, perhaps, if you like, who might say the reasons why they support the opposition. So I won't ban any comments or anything like that. So any people who want to comment, please feel free to do so below. Again, I hope it won't be rude or anything like that, but if it is, then I suppose it would just show up their club anyway. So if anyone writes something rude, I suppose it'll reflect more on them, I suppose, than it would on me, perhaps, I assume. Anywho, so 1, I'd love to hear from other people about any thoughts they have on reasons to support Celtic, especially Celtic fans or even clubs, like people from Barcelona or other clubs, even in England, like Man United or Liverpool or Everton or teams like that, which their second club or one of their favourite clubs might be Celtic. Anyone who likes Celtic even a little bit might say reasons why they like Celtic, or if Celtic is their favourite Scottish team. point 2, I suppose people who agree with Celtic's ethics, like about the work they do. I talked before about I'm neutral when it comes to Israel and Palestine, but I'm not sure whether Celtic will right support Palestine, or maybe look more to make peace between the two. If that's obviously that's not. I don't know if it's possible, but it's certainly not easy. But to try and look at neutral ways. But for people who support Palestine, obviously, I suppose that, and things like, I think that Celtic would probably be a club that one sport, and I think many people from Palestine or who are pro-Palestinian would already do support Celtic. I suppose it probably doesn't make them favourable with too many Israeli supporters, perhaps. Well, imagine not. But obviously, I'm not going to talk about the reasons why some people can share their reasons why they wouldn't support Celtic. They're quite welcome, as I said, to do that. But I'm going to talk about why I support Celtic, as well as Italian football. Three, I think that, like, personally, as an anti-imperialist, I think that colonialism, empire, or whatever, which to me means the same thing. Normally, I don't think any colonial or empirical, or whatever you want to call it, power, like Britain or France or any other country, even Italy, they omit, like the Roman Empire. I don't think any of those made people more free when they took over their country. I think they ran them and governed them. So I'm sure they violated a lot of freedom. So I think, and there's a quirky way of seeing things again, but as I talked about in my previous videos, but I think that that could be a good reason to for people to support Celtic, because of the Irish connection and possibly the freedom that was taken away from Ireland, arguably. Again, not an opinion that will be popular with everyone, but it's something that I, as an anti-imperialist, think about. Like, on that note, as an anti-imperialist, as someone, I know that probably most Celtic fans are not pacifists, I'm sure, and I suppose that unfortunately there's been a link between, like, some extreme Celtic fans who support groups like the IRA or whatever, which I disagree with personally. But I also disagree with a lot of what the British military does in places like Iraq or places like that, or like what they did in Ireland. I think, if I'm honest, should be careful what I say again. But so for me, as an anti-imperialist, as I say, I think that's one of the reasons why I support, main reason why I support Celtic, I think. And I think that a lot of Rangers fans, when they go abroad, some of them even apparently join England. When England play, they don't get enough violence when they play. Again, I should be careful what I say, but I've seen one or two of them. I'm sure most Rangers fans, hopefully, as well as Celtic fans, I'm sure both have good and bad fans. I'm sure, like every other club, but I'm sure that. But there are some who join, like, they want to join. They go abroad with England because they get more action, if you like, more violence. I've heard one fan who does that. And to me, as someone who doesn't support going to people's country and causing trouble or breaking the law or damaging things, I think, generally speaking, I don't want to speak to you, and I hope I'm right, but I think that Celtic fans, it seems, don't go abroad so often and cause trouble. One Celtic fan said one of the differences between Celtic and Rangers, obviously there are quite a few differences, but one of the differences, when they go abroad, they don't cause as much trouble. They want to make friends, and I think many fans around the world have become friends with Celtic because of that, for that reason. I might not always agree with everything, like the Basque separatists. Like, I'd love to see a more united Mediterranean. So I'd love people from Eurasian nations, transcontinental countries generally. I know Eurasian countries nations are transcontinental, but I'm using them as two separate groups because I wish to support Eurasian countries a bit more, but also transcontinental countries, the Mid East and the Mediterranean. I'd love them to be Celtic and those countries to get on better as well, and to have fans from all those countries, like all the Italian and Spanish, French, Portuguese, and all those sort of teams as well, as they all the Mediterranean, even some of the Arab countries as well, all the Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid East, and Mediterranean teams, as well as the other four groups I talk about. I keep talking about the four, like African, Aborigine, Indigenous, Native American, and Asian nations. I love them to support Celtic as well, so I'd love to have Celtic fans around the world. I'm even thinking of making a video. Don't think I'll do it tonight because I don't think I have the time, but maybe next week, maybe next Saturday, talk about the groups I wish to support Celtic as well. Sorry, with my tea addiction as usual. My 6 my sixth cup already. It's only 4 o'clock, so I'm not doing too well. I think that's from when I stay at home all the time, and when I go to the library, I don't drink as many teas, so cups of tea. So anyway, sorry, get back to this. In my head, these lists always go a lot better than they always go more fluid, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so I've been thinking of making the video for a while, but I suppose if you wait for it to be perfect, it probably never happens. So I think that was point 4. Point 5, again, I hope to listen to people who are already supporters of Celtic, or at least like Celtic, and talk about what they like about Celtic. I'd love to hear what people like about Celtic. And I'll probably repeat this point quite a few times, but Celtic started as a charity for the poor Irish immigrants. I think it's an immigrants club because of the immigration from Ireland. And I think that's why they supported the migrants during the migrant crisis and said we want to welcome migrants. I think migrants should only. I think we should try to make migrants only come in legally, but I do think it's nice of Celtic to be warm and welcoming. And generally, I think they're not very discriminatory. I think sometimes with the Catholic and Protestant thing, they can be a bit discriminatory towards Protestants, which I disagree with. And I think Celtic as a club, in my opinion, should go against any discrimination, including against Protestants or any other group. As it says, it tackles racism and stands against racism, and I think that's really good. But I think also any anti-Protestantism, I think, should be condemned as well. But I think generally it's an inclusive club, whereas Rangers said they didn't want any Catholics. And a lot of people say, I don't know if this is true, but a lot of people say they have some very far right fans, which I hope to come to. Anyway, 6. I hope to have links between, help Celtic and Italian fans and Celtic to practice together much more. 7, again, as an inclusive club, I think Celtic, as far as I'm aware, have good ethics about being inclusive. Again, I'm sure there are some Celtic fans who want to cause trouble, unfortunately, and who don't have the best ethics. But I think generally as a club, as far as I'm aware, hopefully I'm right, but I think it does have some good ethics. 8, again, I think Rangers can have a lot of hateful fans, extremists, a lot of far right fans, unfortunately. And I think, again, when they go abroad, like when they went to Barcelona or places like that, and even Manchester, they tore up the city, and they have very anti-Irish sentiment and things like that. Again, not all their fans, I'm sure, are like that. Hopefully most of them are not. But I think they do have a lot of elements of that in their football fans. I hope not too many Rangers fans will be offended, but that's my opinion as a person of colour. I think people of colour should support Celtic, as far as I'm aware. Again, I'm quite happy to listen to alternative opinions. I'd love to hear what you think. 9, I love the projects and charity work they've done, and I hope they will. When I wrote to Celtic fans about doing Celtic club about doing charitable work abroad, they said they no longer do a lot of that stuff. They do more domestic stuff, which they do a lot of things to help homeless people. They do sleep outs and things like that, especially at Christmas. But I would love to see them do more work again, like they did before in Malawi, in Kenya, and all over Africa, Asia, even in countries like India. This is probably not very well known fact, but there was actually an Indian player who used to play Celtic called Mohammed Salim a long time ago. He actually used to play barefoot. I think he only had a couple of games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But so perhaps there could be an interest between. In fact, someone had the hashtag India Loves Celtic. Maybe one of my videos could be about hashtag India Loves Celtic. But anyway, and I love to see like groups like Artists for Celtic, authors, writers for Celtic, artists for Celtic, and so forth. So all artists and authors and so forth for Celtic. 10, I think it would be great to see if Celtic can get 10 in a row or more, even more than this exciting project they're trying to build. And if you look at historically, actually, Celtic are the underdogs, and they still have a lot of catching up to do with the Rangers. But yeah, so these are some of the reasons why I like Celtic. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree or not. I hope they'll be polite, as I often say, but obviously freedom of speech. think that covers point 1. I know it's 15 minutes, so it's 5 minutes longer than I planned. I also want to turn this laptop off soon because I think I need to save some of the battery, and I did want to do part 2 and 3, so I'm a bit behind my plan. But anyway, peace and love.